I've been playing Minecraft for a lot of years now, a really long time, and I was today years old when I first considered, what do the paintings in Minecraft even mean? I've been using them in my builds for as long as I can remember. I love the paintings. I think that they are up to a lot of interpretation, but I recently discovered that they are actually based on real paintings. There are 26 Minecraft paintings, all of which, or most of which, are based on actual real-life paintings by Christopher Zetterstrand, who also made the in-game versions of the paintings as well. So I thought it would be fun to construct the longest, most unrealistic art gallery that Minecraft and possibly the world has ever seen, right here in Stream City, known as the Blocksonian. So I thought it would be fun to actually take a look at every single one of the 26 paintings in Minecraft and give you what I have always interpreted them to mean, versus their actual real life appearance and what they are supposed to be. So strap in, and if everybody could just pay the admission to the art gallery, it's gonna be one like, I'm afraid, and that's gonna have to be everybody. So if you want to see inside of the gallery, you know, and I know, I don't make the rules. I didn't make the gallery. Wait, hang on a second. I'm just kidding. You don't have to like the video. But seriously though, without any further ado, let's take a look. So this painting is and always has been to me a carrot. I clearly see a carrot with a big greeny stalk on it, but I have a really bad feeling that that's not what this is, and I'm going to be severely disappointed. Yeah, so here's the thing. It turns out that this is actually not a carrot. I always thought that it was produce. It's actually a still life painting of two plants in plant pots. I still don't see it. Okay, this is a Swedish word. Paradistraat, something similar to that, is Swedish for paradise tree, which is a common name for the depicted species in Scandinavia, in-game known as plant. Well, I'll be. So far, we are 0 and 1. So this painting in particular, I always saw like some sort of like Italian village, kind of like based off the sea with like a white villa, kind of like the white there on the right with some greenery. And I just imagine the mixture of yellows and browns and stuff. It kind of just sort of looked like the edge of a cliff or a beach, and you can quite clearly see the blue sky with the clouds, but let's see what's actually supposed to be. Okay, so here's the thing. Painting of the Counter-Strike map, DE_Dust2, named Target Successfully Bombed in reference to the game, in-game known as Bomb. I'm starting to think that I'm the worst art critic. Okay, so this one, I have always playfully thought of it as Jack Skellington. Now, hear me out. You can see the black patch on the left and the black patch on the right and the black patch in the middle. It sort of looks like two big eyes with a nose in the middle, and you can kind of see like a smirky mouth at the bottom. Now, in my heart of hearts, I know that's not what this is, but if it's not that, then I genuinely don't know. So the real version is a free look perspective of the map DE_Aztec from the video game Counter-Strike. I'm seeing a pattern here. In-game known as Aztec. So not a Disney reference to Jack Skellington then. Okay. Now I think that we can all agree that this is a burrito. I don't think that there really requires any more explanation. I'm locking that in as my final answer. Oh, he wasn't far off. A kebab with 3 green chili peppers in-game known as kebab. Come on. Burritos are basically the Mexican kebab. I think we can all agree on this. Okay, so the interpretation for this one might seem a little bit weird, even coming from me. I have always seen a figure on the left carrying an umbrella. I'll try and illustrate this so this makes sense. And that figure is kind of in a foresty location with a dark sky and looming dark clouds. That's what I see. Hopefully you guys can see that as well, and I think I've got a good feeling about this one. A free look perspective of the map D Aztec from the video game Counter-Strike, in-game known as Aztec 2. So, not somebody who's afraid to get wet then. Now this one I have always interpreted to be kind of a villager head made out of cheese, which sounds insane until you actually take a good look at this. So you can see it's kind of got like a villager's figure, like the head, right? And then you can see the nose in the middle, that's a little bit darker, and the villager is wearing sunglasses. Don't ask me why, but they are. It's a cheesy villager head, and they're even kind of smiling as well. You can see that next to the nose. Painting of a view of some wastelands. A small animal, presumably a rabbit, sort of looks like one, is sitting on the window ledge, in-game known as Wasteland. I mean, time out here guys, what's more plausible? That little brown spot being a small rabbit on kind of like a window ledge to a wasteland, or a cheesy villager head? I'll let you decide. This one is quite clearly cacti / cactuses, whichever one it's supposed to be, wearing hats. Change my mind. A man wearing a fez in a desert-type land stood next to a house and a bush. As the name of the painting suggests, it may be a landscape in Albania. However, Albania is mostly snowy mountains, and there are no deserts, therefore making it impossible to be located in Albania, in-game known as Alban. My mind is unchanged. This is quite clearly a wonky-legged Pinocchio. Geppetto needs to make Pinocchio new legs because one of them has turned into a circle. A small picture of King Graham, the player character in the King's Quest series, in-game known as Graham. You know, my world is slowly being torn apart here. I always thought that was Pinocchio. The legs even look like a little bit like bent, like as in, like how they would if it was a marionette. I am absolutely gobsmacked. You cannot tell me that's not Pinocchio. This one I've always thought of as Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII, specifically with his like black costume from, I believe, the movie like Advent Children. I mean, that's what I've always seen it as, and I mean, there even sort of looks as though that there's like a sword over there on the right, like a really long sword. I mean, that's what I've always thought this is, a reference to Final Fantasy VII. Painting of a man with a walking stick traversing rocky plains, an overdressed hiker one might say, reference to romantic painter Caspar David Friedrich's Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog, in-game known as Wanderer. Well, that is a massive explanation to tell me that I'm wrong. You'll always be Cloud to me. I think that we can all agree that this is just the ocean. I mean, I don't know if there's any contest to that here. It just looks like the ocean or like a giant wave and some cliffs. Painting of a view of mountains at sunset, in-game known as Sunset. Now, I can see the sunset, but those mountains are so blue. You cannot tell me that's not the ocean. Okay then. Alright, so this is also going to be another weird one. I always considered this one Pirate Pig. Now, the reason that I think that it's a pirate pig and kind of like, I mean, there's sort of like a raccoon or like a red panda sort of situation going on, but the reason, okay, so on the right side, with the white block and the two like bluey / turquoisey blocks next to each other, that sort of looks like an eye. Below that looks like a snout. Above and to the right of that looks like an eye patch, and from the colour, it just looks like a pig from the snout and the colour. It's a pirate pig, everybody can agree. Now, if we look to the left of the painting, we can see that there is an eye, an ear, and a nose from some sort of potentially fluffy small creature, i.e. raccoon, possibly red panda, maybe even a ferret, who knows. I would love to know what this is actually supposed to be. Some men and women skinny dipping in a pool over a cube of sorts. Also, there is an old man resting in the lower right edge, in-game known as pool. I mean, what are we even doing here anymore? I think that every single one of us can agree that this is a creeper in a window. I don't need to phone a friend. I don't need to ask the audience. It's a creeper in a window. Possibly with a sea turtle head involved on the window ledge. But we also have this similar painting here as well, which simply has the creeper head replaced with a plant. Now, both of these paintings are of course based on just one, which is a painting of a view of mountains and a lake, with a small photo of a mountain and a dull-coloured plant on the window ledge. In Alpha 111, or 1.1.1, this painting was replaced, featuring a more colourful plant. There is also an alternate version replacing the plant with a creeper, in-game known as C and Creepette respectively. Well, there you go. I think that this is one of the very few paintings that I've actually interpreted correctly, like looking out of the window at the sky/sea with, well, flowers on a window ledge. I was perhaps wrong about the sea turtle head. I don't think that anybody could say that that's like a photograph. There's no way that any of you guys thought that, right? I mean, it looks like a tiny little turtle's head. Come on. But anyway, let's move on. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm not sure what this is exactly. This is sort of like a Rorschach test, like one of those tests where you kind of look at the black blotches and it's like you're sort of supposed to see something. It's supposed to remind you of like how bad of a childhood you had or something. But I've always saw just kind of like the birch wood texture. I've not necessarily seen anything, but now that I'm looking at it now, I do see vaguely a polar bear's face in the middle, and I also see the guy from Super Smash Bros, Mr. Game and something. I see him right there kind of jumping. Let's have a look. Mr. Game and Watch. I see him over there, and on the right side I see one of the unknowns from Pokemon. Okay, there is actually a guy in this. Two hikers with pointy beards, seemingly greeting each other. The painting is based on the realist painter Gustave Courbet's 1854 painting of the same title, in-game known as Courbet. So there is a guy. I still don't see the similarity, by the way. There's absolutely no way that that's... I mean, how could anybody see that? Do I lack an imagination? I mean, I see a polar bear's face before I see two pointy men with... Am I crazy? Okay, so this one is basically like if you asked 5-year-old me to draw a picture of the Wither, this is what it would look like. It also sort of reminds me, like, it almost looks like a bad Halloween costume. Like, it looks like a villager that's kind of, like, got a mask on and has, like, raised up his arms, like, to the left and right, and it's kind of got, like, an additional mask on the end of each arm. Like, that's what it sort of looks like. Okay, so this painting actually isn't based on a real-life painting, but interestingly, it seems as though that the painting is depicting soul sand with wither skeleton skulls in a formation needed to spawn the actual Wither, which is actually an insanely awesome way to show you how to spawn a boss, like, through a painting. Like, how insanely obscure. I did not know that. That is actually awesome. Still sort of looks like a bad Halloween costume, though. So this is quite clearly of a guy setting fire to a table, for whatever reason. A hand holding a match, causing pixelated fire on a white cubic gas fireplace, in-game known as a match. It looks like a guy setting fire to a birthday cake, which would be absolutely terribly depressing, considering the fact that I'd love to eat it. This is just a semi-creepy skull. I don't think that there's any dispute here. Painting of a skeleton at night with red flowers in the foreground. The original painting is very different, depicting a woman sitting in a couch, while the skull is in the middle of a body of glacial water of sorts, in-game known as Skull and Roses. Now, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but this guy... Why would you change it so much? Okay, so I've always interpreted this to be weird-looking Pinocchio and weird-looking Pinocchio's son fighting a giant spider. Now that sounds insane, but you can quite clearly see weird-looking Pinocchio with a gold tooth on the left, and then there's a smaller version of him on the on the lower part. It almost looks like he's riding a rat now that I kind of look at it. Like, you can sort of see the tail above, and there's also quite clearly the spider in the corner. I would love to know what this is based on. Painting of scenery from Space Quest 1 with the character Graham from King's Quest in-game known as Stage. Huh. Okay, so I can definitely see that's quite clearly, you know, that's quite clearly the same figure from the 1x2 painting from earlier. And I guess it is, there's no rat involved. It's a rock, and the spider definitely isn't attacking, or at least it doesn't seem that way, but it's, I guess I was sort of halfway right. I mean, if it were me, I would be attacking that spider. They're not allowed to live in this house. I don't have a thing against spiders or anything, but you've got to pay rent to stay here. Alright, there is 100% no way that this is not a guy in kind of like a karate gi, or a, whatever those things are called, like a karate outfit, in a gi, in a judo, whatever, jumping and karate chopping into the air. Because that is literally what that has got to be. This is not no, there is no way! There is no way! Painting of an angel praying into what appears to be a void with pixelated fire below, in-game known as a void. There is absolutely no way that this has not the entire time been a guy karate chopping. Oh, I can't unsee it now! That's all. I've always thought, I put this on my dojo because I thought it was a guy karate chopping. Guys, petition here. This is, come on, that's a guy doing a karate chop in the air, right? Am I right or right? Yes or yes? Unbelievable. I will never see that as an angel. Okay, moving on to the next picture. This is kind of like an ancient Greek sort of like statue, kind of like, I don't know, buried in a swamp, surrounded by fire? I guess. That's sort of what it looks like. Painting of a statue bust surrounded by pixelated fire, in-game known as bust. Oh, victory tastes so sweet. Oh, next you're gonna tell me that these are two angels. Okay, so this is basically just two guys about to go for a little round of fisticuffs in the middle of a field. I mean, that's about as black and white as it gets. Two pixelated men poised to fight, fisticuffs, paper versions of fighters from the game International Karate Plus. When regular karate isn't enough, Karate Plus will get you there. In-game known as fighters. Well, I mean, I think we hit the nail on the head there. We hit the angel on the head with the karate chop, I guess. Okay, so this, I am like 100% sure. Like 100. This is like a level from Donkey Kong. Like the old school arcade version of Donkey Kong. Like, there is absolutely no way that that's not what it is. Here we go. A paper-looking screenshot of the level 100 from the original Donkey Kong arcade game, in-game known as Donkey Kong. I mean, you know, there we checkmate. Okay, so I've always considered that this is a skeleton. I mean, quite clearly we've got the skeleton in the middle. I've never thought about what these skeletons actually like sat in. It almost looks like a shoe. Is this going to be entitled like the skeleton in the shoe? The shoe skeleton? Like, I don't know what that's supposed to be. Maybe like a bit of paper or something? Is he sat in a McDonald's bag? Like, what is he? A painting of the mean midget from the adventure game Grim Fandango, in-game known as Skeleton. Okay then, I guess. I mean, I still don't know what that is, even looking at the original. It sort of looks like I don't know, like a ballerina slipper or something? Or just like an empty paper bag, like my KFC looks like it came in there. You know what this actually reminds me of, this one? Kind of like, you know that picture where like God and like Adam or whoever are like laid down and they're touching each other's fingers, like a scene out of E.T. or something? Like, that's what this sort of reminds me of, like a little karate, like a guy doing karate fighting a giant hand. It actually sort of almost reminds me of Smash Brothers when you've got to like fight the giant hands at like the end of the game. A painting of the main character of the classic Atari game, International Karate. There's a lot of karate and old school game related. The Karatechak. Why can I not say that? Caricature. Character had white hair. This one clearly has black hair fighting a large hand. It could also be interpreted as the two hands touching, as seen in Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel painting, in-game known as Pointer. Oh, look at this cultured koala. Quite clearly a skull on fire in the forest. I think we can move on. A skull on pixelated fire. In the background there is a moon in a clear night sky, in-game known as Burning Skull. Now, okay, so this one is quite clearly a, I don't know, like a centaur? Oh no, not a centaur. What is Phil from Hercules, like a satyr or something? Like Mr. Tumnus from like the Chronicles of Narnia, like really got into art and decided to draw a Minecraft pig. I mean, what's the real painting of a girl that is pointing to a pig on a canvas? In the original version, the canvas shows red, green and blue blocks representing the three colours of the RGB colour model that is typically used by computer displays in-game known as pig scene. My bad, I guess that's not what that is. I guess it's not that. Now, for those of you that have been keeping count, you might think that that has been 26 paintings, but what you don't know is Minecraft's hidden 27th painting, also known as the greatest work of art ever made, also known as the Mona Lisa of Minecraft. I think it's time for us to take a look. I think that you guys are going to agree this is probably the most beautiful painting that has ever been displayed in Minecraft and possibly even the world as well. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Have you ever seen anything quite like this? I didn't think so. All jokes aside, ladies and gentlemen, it's been really fun making this video. Honestly, it's changed my perception of these paintings a lot. Like, a lot of these, I was 100% convinced, like, I knew what they were, and it was so clear in my mind, and now I guess I'm just not so sure. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that you would like to check out some of my other videos. Subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, that really helps. All of that YouTuber stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I love all of you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.